stories. This happened when I was about 17 or 18 years old. I used to hang out at the library downtown after school with my friends. I know what you are thinking, and no, I wasn't some kind of book club nerd. My friend group was a mixed bag of emos, goths, skaters, and other alternative kids. We listened to metal and metalcore. We wore trip pants, Vans, DC, and Slipknot, Cradle of Filth, Chelsea Grin shirts, wore eyeliner, both guys and girls, and we were basically your typical later 2000s teenage goth emo group that liked to loiter, smoke weed, smoke cigarettes, and scare normies and boomers. Some of the other older people didn't mind us, especially the older Wiccan coven that would sometimes come to the library and would sometimes talk to us and even convince the library staff that we weren't bad kids, because some of the normies would make up lies about my group and say that we were harassing people, intimidating old people and little kids, and all kinds of other crap. To be honest, my group and I were a bully brigade. We would defend nerds and little kids from bullies when I seen it happen. The local police was unsure if we should be considered a gang because we did all dress alike, etc. But since we weren't into any criminal activity except for the occasional joint that we smoked behind the library, and during this time in 2005, it wasn't socially acceptable to smoke marijuana. Back then, if you smoked marijuana, you were labeled a crackhead and thought to be a general piece of shit. One afternoon, my friends had all gone home and stayed back, and then later went to the bowling alley, another place that my friend group and I would hang out. We sometimes mingled with the emo goth group from the other city. My group and I were from a different city, and the other group was from the city that the bowling alley was in. The night ended. I went to my friend's house to drink and smoke, and my friend decided to pass out because he was tired. Truth is, he was just a lazy asshole. So I walked home that night because I didn't want to be there and listen to my friend snore all night. As I'm walking home, this black Ford F-150 pulls up and asks if I need a ride home. I had hitchhiked before, so I said sure. Nothing bad ever happened when I hitchhiked in the past. So as I'm riding down the road with this guy, he starts talking some weird shit. First, before I get to the things he said to me, I must describe this guy. This guy was about 6'5", 400 pounds, hairy, greasy, and had warts and shit all over his face. The guy seemed like a nice dude at first, but when he started talking the shit he was talking, I got a little concerned. He started propositioning me for oral sex and anal sex. This guy was in his late 50s, and I was like 17 years old. I told the guy, "Sorry man, I'm not gay." The guy just replied with, "You don't have to be gay." He then pulled out a stack of hundreds and told me that if I gave him head, that he would give me $10,000 in cash. I was scared and repulsed by this. This guy was a fucking pedophile, and he was talking about he owns all these businesses and that he has millions in the bank, etc. He told me that I could live with him and be his fuck buddy, and he'd make me a manager and give me 20% stock in his company and all kinds of shit. I explained to him that I wasn't gay and that I liked women, and he replied, "If you take me up on my offer, then you could have any fucking woman you want. I know all kinds of women, and I could hook you up in a heartbeat." I told him that if he produced these women, or at least one of them right now, that after I got to have sex with her and developed a relationship with her, I would do whatever he wanted me to. He then told me that it doesn't work like that. He then said something that really caught me off guard, and when he said this shit, I got really scared and asked him to please take me back home, and that I felt sick. This disgusting pig said to me, "Do you like kids? Because if you do, I can get some kids over here, and you can do whatever you want to them. They're trained and everything." I asked him what the fuck he was talking about, and he looked at me and smiled and simply said, "You know." Still confused, I replied, "Look, I don't know what you're talking about. Please explain." He then just flat out said, "I'm talking about getting some pussy." I couldn't believe what he was saying. I really wanted to leave. He eventually took me home and dropped me off. Before he left, he gave me his cell phone number and told me to call him if I needed anything. Said the offer was still on the table and that I could have the world and that I could do anything to anyone as long as he got what he wanted from me. I should also mention that in 2005 through 2006, it wasn't socially acceptable to be gay either. A lot of the people in my group were gay or bi, but society as a whole still looked down on it. Not even the Democrats really supported gay rights. And this guy was openly gay and openly a creepy pedophile pervert. A few weeks later, after the encounter with this creepy fat old bastard, I saw him on the news, and he had been arrested for all kinds of shit, including tax fraud, money laundering, child pornography, rape porn of adult women, murder videos, racketeering, drug manufacturing, and God knows what else. I seriously dodged a bullet with this guy. While the guy wasn't found to be in any of the movies, he just funded the production and distribution of it. I am lucky that he didn't just force me to do it. He took me home and didn't give me a hard time. But to find out years later that he was sicker than I could ever have imagined, I was grateful that nothing happened to me. This guy made millions of dollars off of human suffering and ripping off the government, and the only reason he was caught was because he tried to do the same thing with another guy, and the guy was going to do all the oral and anal stuff with him. But when the fat, disgusting guy mentioned something about manufacturing CP, the new guy called the cops and told the cops what he had heard, and the fat guy was taken down. He is currently still behind bars, awaiting trial. The news never released the guy's name or anything because they didn't want to tip anyone off that they had arrested their kingpin. The police were unsure just how large the illegal criminal organization was. They suspect that the guy may have had connections to the Italian mafia, but the FBI has informed the police that Italian mafia isn't into manufacturing illegal pornography, and they have stock in legal porn and other legit businesses, and they are mostly hitmen for hire and money launderers. The police, unsatisfied with this answer, has begun an investigation unknown members of the Italian mafia. The FBI believes they are wasting their time and is trying to get the DA to ban the police from investigating the mafia because they think it may jeopardize their ongoing investigation. The police have interviewed me, and so has the FBI, about my encounter with the fat, creepy guy, and I've explained everything. They asked me why I never reported it, and I told them that when he dropped me off, he pulled out a Glock and told me that if I said anything about what I was shown today, that he'd come back and murder my entire family and kidnap my little sister. He apparently knew everything about me and my family, though I never told him I had a little sister. So of course, me being fucking terrified, I never said anything to law enforcement. They thankfully believed me and left me alone. I also found out that the reason my little sister's best friend went missing 2 years ago was because her parents sold her to pay for their house because they were about to be homeless and never actually wanted the poor little girl. Thankfully, she was never harmed, and this nice lady that goes to church with my mom adopted her, and my sister has her friend back. Fat, creepy guy, I am really glad that I never seen you again. I hope you got what you deserved, you disgusting son of a bitch. I really hope that the FBI finds your entire network and shuts it down. I hope that the corrupt system doesn't just sweep your crimes under the rug because you're rich. When I was in high school, I was bullied a lot. I was punched and kicked and harassed daily by a group of jocks and preps because I was poor. After the jocks and preps graduated, I thought all of the bullying was finally over, but no, it was about to get absolutely worse. There was this annoying fucking kid named Marcus that used to tell me that I stunk and smelled like shit and would make fun of me daily. I wasn't aware that I smelled bad. I showered every night, wore deodorant, clean clothes, cologne, etc. But yet, I was told every day that I smelled like shit, and that I was a piece of shit, and that I should be killed. The worst part was that some of my fucking teachers thought what Marcus was doing was cute, and they would laugh and enable his fucking behavior. Now, this happened on a particular day, and I'm embarrassed to even mention it, but I'm going to. I had never gone to school smelly or nasty, except this one day. I had missed the bus, and my stepfather had to take me to school, and he wanted to go fishing. So, I was trying to take a shit, and the turd wouldn't come out because it was stuck. And my stepfather comes banging on the fucking bathroom door, telling me to hurry the fuck up, and he nearly scared me half to death and caused my anxiety to shoot through the fucking roof. And I forgot to wipe, and I went to school with shit in my underwear, and thank fucking God that Marcus wasn't in my morning class, but some of my friends told me that I smelled really bad and that I should go to the gym and shower or something. I went to the bathroom and pulled my underwear off and threw them in the trash and had to walk around commando for the rest of the day. It felt so weird, like I was exposed. Being a 15-year-old boy going through puberty, no underwear to hide or compress an erection, if one happened randomly, was an awful feeling. I went to my friend's locker because my friends and I shared lockers around the school. I got some deodorant and some cologne, and then fourth period came, and I was so worried that Marcus would have heard about earlier in the day by now, and sure enough he did. He started his shit with calling me a piece of shit, a faggot, telling me that I stink and that I should kill myself. I told him that I had a bad morning and I'm not in the mood for his shit today, and to just leave me alone. Marcus then got in my face and was all like, "What?" and then shoved my face. I snatched Marcus by his shirt and beat him senseless. The football coach and the SRO ran across from the school to come and end the fight. They were trying to get into the circle, but other kids were blocking them from getting in. People were so excited that this fucking fight they had been trying to make happen for months was finally happening. I couldn't believe that the entire bullying shit started because some fucking jock asshole told Marcus that I called him the N-word and that I wanted to fight him. So because Marcus thought I had called him the N-word, he would always bully me and call me a stinking cracker and other things. Also, he mentioned earlier my fucking stepfather was a real piece of work. This asshole would bully me when I got home, and he'd always ask me why I didn't have a girlfriend and call me a faggot, etc. So I asked him, how the fuck am I gonna have a girlfriend? And what good would it do if you don't let me leave the fucking house, you goddamn moron? Yeah, so having to go home to a genuine asshole, then deal with Jocks, Preps, and Marcus because the Jocks lied and started some drama because the Jocks and their younger freshman cousins and sophomore cousins had made a fucking bet. One group was betting I'd snap, and the other group was betting that I'd continue to get bullied until graduation. After Marcus and I fought and all of that shit, we avoided each other. The admins at school were careful that we didn't have any classes together, etc. Now the next few months were great. I didn't have to deal with Marcus for the rest of the school year. The next year, my little sister had started school, and she wanted to be a cheerleader, and she went to tryouts and outperformed Amanda, the head cheerleader. Amanda was fucking pissed. Amanda told everyone in school that trailer trash bitch Stacy is going to get what's coming to her ass. Stacy is my sister, by the way. Stacy was a trained dancer. She'd been doing dance tournaments since she was a little girl and was trained by actual professionals. Amanda didn't care about any of that. Amanda thought that just because her mother was head of the school board, that she should be cheer captain, despite Amanda not being as good of a dancer. While Amanda wasn't bad at all, she wasn't the same tier as my sister. Marcus and Amanda teamed up and tried to get Stacy removed from the cheerleading team. As the weeks went on and the cheerleaders started to respect Stacy more and more, this enraged Amanda, and Amanda paid Marcus to do something really bad. Marcus told Amanda that he could not do what she asked, and Amanda then betrayed Marcus and decided that she'd take matters into her own hands, and she talked to the jocks that used to bully me. Apparently, Amanda was the sister to one of them. Amanda told them to fucking rape my sister and kill her. How the fuck petty and much of a piece of shit do you have to be to fucking hire your brother's friends to rape and kill someone because you lost your spot as cheer captain? Marcus did the right thing and told the SRO of the plot. At first, the SRO didn't believe him because Marcus and I had been enemies for so long, but Marcus did the right thing by telling someone, because on May 6th or 7th at 3:15 p.m., Stacy and the other girls were doing their routines, and the jocks pulled up and went straight for Stacy, and then the SRO and other police officers arrested the jocks and charged them with sexual battery. Amanda was taken to jail, and Marcus shook my hand and apologized for the years of torment that he inflicted on me. I apologized for breaking his arm during the fight. While Marcus and I aren't friends or anything like that, we are no longer enemies either. The jocks are in prison, Amanda is in prison, I'm in college, my sister Stacy is still cheer captain and has taken them to victory 3 years in a row at the cheerleading competitions. Amanda's little sister sent a letter to Stacy and told her, "Enjoy your reign, bitch, because I'm coming to take your crown. I'm not like my sister. I actually have talent and have trained to beat you." Stacy simply replied, "Anytime you're ready, just don't be a petty narcissist bitch like your sister. If you think you can beat me, I'm down for the challenge, but please show your competition some respect. Please don't call me a bitch unless you meant that in a playful, friendly way." Amanda's sister's name is Brittany, and Brittany is another story for another time. I will try to tell the story of Brittany soon. I am female, and I'm a little fat, and have been since elementary school. I'm about to get out of high school, and this story takes place soon before my 3rd year. I was really wanting a boyfriend, and I was brought on to the idea that dating apps were the way to go. My generation is stupid. Everything can be solved with an app. I believed that before this happened. I downloaded Tinder and a few others to give it a try. Not letting my parents know what I was doing, I made profiles on each and copied and pasted the rest. I didn't think many people would be interested in me since I was a little overweight. But to my surprise, there's a lot more guys out there that like the overweight girls, not asking questions as to why that is, or the whole thing was legit. I met a guy on there that was willing to talk to me. When we talked, he made me feel like nobody was concerned with the weight. Although I knew this wasn't true, it was nice for someone to talk to me and ignore it. I found out that he was a little older and in college, since this app was apparently for 18 and up. But I told him I'd lied to make a profile. He wasn't concerned about it. I met him one night going out with my friends. When I told him we'd be in that area going to a hangout spot on the weekend, he showed up there without a problem and getting lost, and we walked all night. He told me about a party he was going to next week, and he'd like me to come as his date. I told him I'd love to, and we set the plans for it. Over the week, I kept asking him questions about the party. He told me it's a college party, but they don't mind high school girls there. But that's really all he told me. The next weekend rolled around, and I was stoked to go. I went out with my friends again, so my parents wouldn't get suspicious of what I was doing, and found out I was going to date someone older than me. Once I was out at the hangout spot, I waited for him to get there. He picked me up, and I left for the party with him. He was very gentlemanly, as he treated me very well all the way there. Once he got there, I was surprised to see so many other fat girls, but didn't think anything of it. The night rolled on, as we had a few drinks and I met a bunch of his friends. He treated me very well the entire time. Someone got up on the table and announced that a contest for the best pig was on the table, and I realized at that moment that I wasn't a date. I stormed out of there, and he ran after me. He tried to make light of the situation, but I was too mad to listen or try to make any sense of what was going on in there. He brought me to a pig party, and I was his pig. I'm not really ashamed to be fat or anything. Let's get that out of the way. I just don't like being called a pig or anything. I know I should probably drop some of this weight, but again, I don't like being called a pig. He told me he was sorry and he'd drive me back to my friend's house. He was sincere and trying to apologize to me, but I wouldn't have it. He drove me back to my friends and told them nothing of it. I just let them think whatever they wanted, which many of them didn't seem to notice I was even gone. There were about 30 of us. I think my brush with dating was all I could handle for then, and gave up on it and uninstalled the apps that I downloaded on my phone. Maybe when I get into college and lose some of my weight, when I stop being lazy, it'll be better, and I'll find a real date in real life. Getting invited to a pig party without being told it was one was embarrassing, but at least he didn't try to humiliate me further. Surprisingly, he treated me very well all the way until the last moment I saw him. It's hard to be mad at someone who's like that, but whatever. I'll keep my distance from dating apps, as I'm sure that's why I ended up in the situation to begin with.